What's up, Milwaukee? And what's up to the whole rest of the nation? This is your boy Track Lacer. Since Father's Day is gonna be tomorrow, I want to send a special shout out before I start my video. What the topic is, I want to send a special shout out to all the fathers out there. Rest in peace to my father who passed when I was 15 years old. The reason I'm wearing this Lakers shirt is my homie Dave Tiggs from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, passed away a couple weeks ago, and he was very close with his kids, especially his daughter. So I hated that he couldn't be here, for Father's Day tomorrow. So just thinking of him, and also I like Michael Jordan as a player. I kind of used to try to shoot my free throws like him, do a lot of stuff like him. As a person, I'm not feeling some of the things he's done in terms of the black race. But one thing that always stood with me is when he won the championship against the Seattle Supersonics. It was on Father's Day, and he ran off the court, and he went back to the locker room, and he fell on top of the trophy, and his whole body was just shaking. He was crying. So, whatever criticism I have about Mike, I could always respect the fact that he was close with his father. So, let's get right into it, man. I just got finished watching the documentary from ESPN, OJ, Made in America. And listen when I tell you that for over 20 years now, I was very convinced that OJ didn't commit these crimes. I was thinking that my theory was that he paid somebody to kill Nicole, and the guy and Ron Goldman just happened to pop up. But my theory was that he paid somebody to kill Nicole and then tried to call it off, and they said, no, that's not what's happening. It's too late for that. But after watching this 5-part series, man, I mean, I'm pretty sure he cut that woman's neck open. And I know it's ugly for me to say that, but I mean, some ugly things came out of this documentary, man. They said at her funeral, when people saw the body, people started screaming and crying because they put some type of turtleneck or something up on her neck while she was in the coffin. But it was almost like they was basically saying her head was almost off. And it's really hard to believe that a football player, would go that crazy. But after watching this documentary, the evidence just kind of just stacks and stacks up. And his behavior kind of supports that he might have did it. I'll tell y'all a quick story that's kind of non-related to the documentary before I get into the things that came out of the documentary that resonated with me. So all of us as black men, we watch Sports Center. So, ESPN is just part of our daily lives. So all of us know Dan Patrick. He was the one who said "in fuego." He was the one who started that, and he used to be with Stuart Scott. So he got into some disagreements with ESPN and left. But one time, he had to interview OJ, and they didn't tell him about it. It was just, I want to say it was at the Super Bowl, I think. And he was kind of upset about it because this was not too long after, the not guilty verdicts. And, around the time that America was just, well, I guess I'll say white America, keep it real, was so upset in believing that he committed these crimes. And also, not only did he have it sprung on him at the last minute, you got to interview OJ, but he was also told that you can't ask about the murders in the trial. You got to keep it football related. So they sitting up there and, getting the earpiece ready, adjusting the microphone and all that. And while they prepping Dan to get ready to, be ready for TV, be TV ready, as the industry says, OJ leans over and says, "Hey, you think I did it?" And Dan Patrick had a WTF moment, and it was so intelligent that he said this. He said, "Did what?" And then OJ was kind of surprised that he said, "Did what?" He said, "Kill those two people." Dan Patrick said, "Yes, absolutely." And then just went right into the interview and didn't say anything else about it. And I think that's crazy. But once again, I think this is demonstrating that OJ, dude, for you to even be accused of something like that, and you asking total strangers, people who you don't even know, "Hey, you think I did that?" Like that's almost like somebody that's trying to convince himself that he didn't do it. All right. So in terms of the series itself, man, on ESPN, I think they did a great job. And what the first thing that you might say, "Oh, Track Lacer, man, you tripping." Obviously, they made this documentary slanted against OJ. That's the first thing I'm gonna tell you is that the way they presented this information really wasn't slanted. They just put it out there. They didn't present this information like, "Hey, we hope that you think OJ is guilty after this." They just put the information out there. So the one thing about this ESPN documentary that I'll say is that there's no other suspects. Like, we talking about two people who got killed, two people who got brutally killed. I would think after all this time, there would be some other theory, some other possible suspects, and it's just not there. You know, they got the man. DNA proves that like drops of his blood was on the floor where she was killed at. They got a footprint with blood in it, with an expensive Italian shoe that he wore that he claimed that he didn't like to wear. His blood in the white Bronco. He had motive because he was jealous. He had motive because the boyfriend was there and he was jealous of her messing around with anybody else. It's just there, you know. So that's the one thing that struck me about it is I thought with this documentary we would have at least one other person, some other theory would come up that somebody else did it, but that hasn't happened. Second thing is I think what's very disturbing about this documentary is that we really see how racist the state of California was, perhaps potentially is. As I say that with this Lakers t-shirt on, RIP to the homie D Tiggs. But the reason I say that is because, as you know, Tupac's birthday was a few days ago, and the internet is going crazy about him having a new movie coming out that was filmed in Atlanta, All Eyes on Me. And they showed the trailer, the first trailer for the movie, and it's a review on my channel, so you can check it out. Um, but one of my favorite Tupac songs of all time is very underrated. People don't talk about it. He had a double album called "Are You Still Down," and on that song was a song called "Hellraiser." And the reason that the song stood out to me is because just musically and his lyrics and his energy, it was like way better than any other song on the album. It almost sounds like out of place. Like a lot of the songs sound like throwaway tracks that, oh yeah, I'll just use that on something else. But Hellraiser had a lot of passion, born thuggin', heartless and mean muggin'. That's how it starts out. But for years, listening to that song, I had no idea what he was talking about with this certain part. And he was real hyped up on this line. He was like, "And then I seen on the news they killed Natasha. Now I'm screaming, the world in the end is my friends. The flip flop, lip locked on my when my drop." And said, okay, I was like, okay, they killed Latasha. They killed Latasha. And I ended up finding out that it was a teenage girl in LA. She went into the store to buy some orange juice. The Korean lady behind the counter is saying you didn't pay for it. And I don't know if she was going to put the orange juice back or whatever. But this OJ documentary shows the footage. I mean, flat out. This old Korean lady, just like in the movie Minister Society, that whole stereotype, you buy now. She pulled out, I want to say it had to either be a 45 or a 380. It was a straight revolver. And when that girl, Latasha, turned around, she just put the gun out and bam, just blasted that teenage sister in the back of her head. It's on camera. And the jury in California gave her 6 months probation. Not even a year in jail, 6 months probation. And so when you combine that type of history with Mark Furman saying nigga about 1,000 times on tape after he said he didn't say it, and then them fumbling the DNA evidence and not handling the DNA evidence very well, that's why OJ got off. Seriously. Just a history of racial injustice made black people say, no, we ain't going for it, we ain't trying to hear it. So that's something. The other thing that I noticed about the documentary is that OJ was really clueless in terms of black people and in terms of how he felt about us. Like they was questioning him about how uncomfortable people were in the exclusive rich neighborhood of Brentwood and him living there after he got found not guilty and people wanted him to leave. This Negro sat in an interview and said 90% of the people that are telling me I should leave, I've been here longer than them. So I think they should leave if they're uncomfortable. And anyway, what am I supposed to do? Go to Africa? And he said it with such condemnation, such condescending, and conviction. Like, he really didn't have a clue, in my opinion, of how just callous, insensitive, and I guess the other C word I should have been used is just how much of a coon he was at that very moment. You know, he looked at it as laughable. Nobody asked you anything about Africa. So to me, that really showed how much he really looked down about black people and really despised us, even though he is us. Um, the other thing, before I get to my final point that tripped me out, is Christopher Darden, the bald haired brother with the glasses that was on the prosecution's team. The other thing I learned from watching this documentary is he blew it. He absolutely blew it. Now they say that he was a talented um, trial lawyer prior to this, but a couple things he did that was inexcusable. Is the first thing is he struck to get the word nigger removed from the trial of not being able to say it. And his reasoning was that it would cloud the trial and it would make the African American jurors see nothing but race. And really, it was kind of insulting because he really just insulted all the African American jurors. He insulted their intelligence and their reasoning just in that statement. And man, why did they let Johnny Cochran rebuttal that? Because I'll be the first to admit, I think Johnny is brilliant, but I think he was full of it with a lot of the stuff that he did. I think he knew it. He was just good at it. This is the one time in that trial I don't think he was full of it. Like, I believed every word he said, and he's eviscerated. For all my people out there, you can look that word up in the dictionary, but he eviscerated Charles Darden. He just went in on him and said, how dare he insult the black members of this jury to think that they can't handle this ugly word. So he blew it in that instance. And in the other instance, Marsha Clark told the man not to do the thing of allowing OJ to try on the glove. And somewhere in there, he just decided, I'm going to just do it anyway. And it backfired. The glove didn't fit for whatever reason. We don't know why it didn't fit, but it didn't fit. And she advised him against doing that. And he did it anyway. So that's another reason why I think that he blew the trial. Then the final thing about this O.J. Simpson documentary that I thought was pronounced, or I thought was very interesting. I never knew that O.J. did an interview with Wendy Williams, and she's interviewing him. She got on her tiara because she calls herself the queen of all media, and she's interviewing him, and she said, "O.J., I hate you. I want to call you names, just like a lot of the American public. I have a lot of anger towards you. But you know what? After sitting here with you, I like you. Like, I admit it, you're charming, you're handsome." And then he gave her a hug, and she was like, "Oh my goodness." And we all know what Wendy Williams' thing is, man. She's about them ratings. So on one end, she said what white America feels about him. And then on another end, she just admitted, "But yeah, you're charming." And it seemed like OJ ate that type of stuff up, man. And, he never really learned, despite the fact that he got away with what he got away with. He really never learned to fall back and to look at his situation. And even, you might even be able to give him a pass if he did some stuff in the community, if he did some stuff with some kids, man. Man, go coach a high school football team, man. But he moved to Miami. He was having threesomes with these young white girls and Cuban girls and just doing all this stupid stuff. And then he just got the bright idea that he's gonna get this merchandise back, which he claims was stolen. But to just show you just how little intellect and forethought that he has with his process of moving about in this country, he had one of his homeboys bring a gun, A, and two, even when he was taking his stuff back, his autographed stuff, that he probably could have got off on a judge about if the gun wasn't involved. Then there was Pete Rose memorabilia, Joe Montana memorabilia, and he took that too. So with that, now you just sealed your fate. That stuff didn't belong to you. You're gonna take the other stuff, so you're gonna take the OJ stuff back and take this other stuff that's worth money. Why you got a gun on somebody? So, bro, you deserved all 33 of them years, man. They talk about giving cats football numbers. You used to wear number 32, they gave you 33. So, this is your boy Track Lacer. Man, it's a great documentary. And I would say, I challenge you in the comments below. If you watch that documentary and tell me you still don't think that he is guilty, I want you to tell me why. And something I haven't been doing in my videos that I need to start, down here in the lower right hand corner, you should see a little red button that says subscribe. Make sure you do that. I got about 340 subscribers. I should probably have a lot more subscribers, but I haven't been asking people to do it, so that's my fault. And in addition, hit this video up with a thumbs up, or AKA the like button, and just have at it with the comments, man. I'm real interested to see what y'all thought of the documentary and what y'all think of OJ as a black man and overall his legacy. Salute all my fathers out there. Happy Father's Day.